Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tiro Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gaura Premanandi Shri Prabhupada ki Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Marathon ki jai. Agoda Prema Nandi Hari Bol. All glorious to the assembled devotees. All glorious to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastachade Shatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Which verse?
31, 9, 15, 31.
9, 15, text number 31. 31. This title of this chapter, Parashuram, the Lord's warrior incarnation. A very nice, peace-loving verse today. I'd like to welcome Meg, Marie. Thank you for coming this morning for our program. Did you come for the early part or just this part? This part, good. Okay. Yato aso praharat parashvado mano anilo jaha parachakra sudanaha tata china bujoru kandara nipetur urvyam hatasuta vahanaha yato so praharat parashvado manoliloja parachakra sudana tatas china bujoro kandara nipetur vyang hatasuta vahana yato so praharat parashvado manoniloja parachakra sudanaha tatas chinna bujoro kandara nipetur vyang hatasuta vahana yato so praharat parashvado manoniloja parachakra sudanaha tatas chinna bujoro kandara nipetur vyang hatasuta vahana Nipeturavyang hatasutavahana.
Yato yato so praharat parasvado. Mano nilojo parachakrasa sudana. Tatas tatas chinna bujoro kandara. Petur urgam hatasuta vahana.
Tatastachena bajora kandara. Nipeturavyam hatasutavahana. Yato yato saparat parashvado. Mano niloja purasutahudana. Tatas tatas chena bojuro kundara. Nipeturavyam hatasutavahana. Yataha, wherever. Yataha, wherever. Aso, Lord Parashuram. Praharat, slashing. Parashvadaha, being expert in using his weapons. The parashu, or chopper. There you go, that's the meaning of the word, Parashuram. Parashu is the chopper, like an axe, I suppose you say. Manaha, like the mind. Anila, like the wind. Ojaha, being forceful. Parachakra, of the enemy's military strength. Sudanaha, killer. Tataha, there. Tataha, and there. Jina, scattered and cut off. Bhuja, arms. Uru, legs. Kandaraha, shoulders. Nipetuhu, fell down. Urvyam, on the ground. Hata, killed. Suta, chariot drivers. Vahanaha, carrier horses and elephants. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. You ready? Yes. Lord Parshuram, being expert in killing the military strength of the enemy, worked with the speed of the mind and the wind, slicing his enemies with his chopper, his parashu. Wherever he went, the enemies fell, their legs, arms, and shoulders being severed, their chariot drivers killed, and their carriers, the elephants and horses, all annihilated. Shanti, Shanti. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the beginning, when the army of the enemy was full of fighting soldiers, elephants and horses, Lord Parashuram proceeded into their midst at the speed of mind to kill them. When somewhat tired, he slowed down to the speed of wind and continued to kill the enemies vigorously. The speed of mind is greater than the speed of the wind. Any questions? It's obviously a subject matter which is you could say, does anyone need a translation into French or Portuguese or Russian or Spanish or German or American? Are you American? No, you can understand English.
Sanskrit.
Huh?
Sanskrit.
Translate?
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Oh yes, Sanskrit. Anyone? Sanskrit. Scholars here. Yeah. We do hear, and you could say the history of the world, many, regularly speaking, I think at every moment there's some conflict going on in the world based upon material considerations. Right now we're faced with the conflict in Ukraine and probably a few other places which are not so prominent at this moment of time. It's the nature of this world, conflict, competition, based upon a material concept of life. This whole incident, which we hear about here, is evolved, of course, by divine arrangement in one sense. Nothing can happen without the will of the Lord, ultimately. But the behavior of Kartivarjuna, his materialistic, as a leader of society, he had a very materialistic perception. And as we've heard, or you've heard, he stole the Kamadhenu from Jamadagni, who was a Brahmana performing austerities and various spiritual sacrifices. And he had this very special cow, known as Kamadhenu. They're known as Sarabi cows sometimes. We have a Sarabi cow here. I don't know if she also is a giver of plenty in the sense of whatever you desire, you can receive. In one sense, yes.
She can, but we only ask for milk.
You only ask for milk, okay. Well, ask for something else and see what you get. She's giving a calf shortly, I believe. So this incident of Kartivarjuna, this king, taking advantage of, you could say, of the nature of the Brahminical class of society, who are generally very peaceful and tolerant, etc., stole the Kamadhenu cow from Jamadagni. Now, this persons who are on the material platform with no spiritual conception of life, we could say, so what? What's the big deal? This goes on either so-called institutionally, legitimately or not. We are stealing perhaps amongst ourselves, or we're stealing the property of the Supreme Lord and claiming proprietorship over it. In society, there may be some laws in place for one who steals another's property, perhaps some jail term, or different countries may have different laws, but there's something in place there in human life. There's no such thing in animal life, but in human life there is punishment for theft. This seems to be a bit extreme. Kartiva Arjuna has stolen a cow. This is a common thing, and perhaps not so much in this part of the world, but in countries like India particularly, it's a very common event, stealing cows for various purposes. It's not taken as seriously perhaps as previously, but it's still a punishable act. So here we see a very severe response from Parashuram, the son of Jamadagni, who is a partial expansion of Godhead. So what does any saintly person want to speak of a partial expansion of Godhead got to do with such activity? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita many things. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. And some of you know what this verse means. It's the purpose of when the Lord occasionally appears himself in this world, he comes to establish certain principles. Principles of? Religion or dharma, meaning proper behavior. Correct behavior. Behavior not just only from the mundane moralistic perspective, which of course is also there, but for a purpose of a higher intention, to establish a higher objective, not just to have a set of rules in society or in your own lives which appear to be moralistic or create a more harmonious society, make us feel better, whatever, but to establish principles which will help us to eventually realize our true identity. When we're on the bodily platform of life, it's hard to apprehend, to understand what we see going on in the world, understanding there is a God or no God, but it still remains a perplexity. Why war? Why suffering? You can go on with pretty much every subject. Why? As long as we're on this bodily identification or understanding ourselves as a physical being with no understanding or little understanding of our spiritual nature, then perplexity remains a permanent feature. Always. One thing, why? My mother said, when I joined the Hare Krishna movement, why have you done this to me? What have I done to deserve this? She said, I've always been good to you and now you've done this to me. It's called the bodily platform of life. Thinking the goal of life is to make a materially satisfactory situation, whatever that is. Everyone will see that differently unless you have conflict. But the principle is there in everyone. We want things to be adjusted to the way I see it. But if we understand this basic principle of spiritual life, an objective goal of religion is to raise people to the spiritual perception of life and not just remain in this world of duality, this world of seeing right and wrong, this world of seeing good and bad, happiness and distress, etc. All based upon how we perceive it through our material senses and mind, etc. But this is a temporary, like a dream perception of reality. We hear in the Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, perhaps it's verse 12, Natveva ham jatu nasam natvam neme janadipaha. What does Krishna say?
There was never a time.
Yeah, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings. But it appears here, God, kings, and people are being chopped up. So do they exist anymore or not?
Yes.
Yes? Are you okay? You didn't take breakfast yet. From the mundane point of view, no. Right? They're all being killed, more or less. From the spiritual point of view, no. It's considered also in the Bhagavad Gita, what's that verse? The Changsi Janani Yatavai Hai Navani Grinati Navoprani Tatosha. It's a real tongue twister. The soul can never be killed by any, withered by the wind, this, that, the other, burned by fire, moistened by water. Because it's just like the changing of a dress. This body is described by Krishna, first instruction of Bhagavad Gita. And everything's pointed in the Bhagavatam towards this. And by the 9th canto, one expected to have come to at least a theoretical understanding that we're not the body. And we still look, oh, this is horrible. Well, it depends which way you look at it. It's horrible if you're in ignorance of identity. But if it establishes a principle which helps to elevate the soul to a spiritual understanding, it's not horrible. It's life-saving. These particular pastimes, woven into them, of course, are morality, you could say, our spiritual principles. We could go down that lane also. All these are a little hard for people to grasp when they're on the material bodily platform of life. Even morality in this case is extreme. For the offense of stealing a cow, it doesn't register with mundane persons. Not an ordinary cow, no doubt. There are many other factors, because the leaders of society, they're called the Kshatriyas, are supposed to be the ones who uphold and protect religious principles. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tadevetarojana. What does that verse mean? Krishna speaks.
Whatever a great man does, a common man follows.
Yes, so if a leader of society, we see this in our modern society also. If you're a leader materially or on some religious or spiritual path, and one behaves in such and such a way, there is an excuse, a justification for others. We can take this the other way, of course, in this incident. Therefore, if someone steals my, my spoon, I am justified, therefore, to react in such a way, because there's a little bit more to it than that. We're not the lawgivers or the law makers as such. There is a reaction. Nature itself, karma, reacts. The material nature and the laws of karma act. Whether or not it's dealt with by society or not, karma works. For everything we do, we get a reaction. Everything, good or bad. We don't see it perhaps as the same as, well, what's wrong with a good reaction? Materially, you could say, that's nice, huh? Had a good reaction. But spiritually, no. Good reactions bind us in this world. With his chopper, Parashuram is releasing the bondage, cutting the bondage, and helping others to be free of this bondage, this chindanti kovidastasya kona kriyat kataratim, this nirbandha, granta nirbandha, this knot, tight knot, karma granta nirbandhana, this tight knot of material action and reaction. And if the leaders themselves tighten that knot, they have to be removed. We, in our modern day, of course, have no such perception of the situation. But spiritually, or for the ultimate purpose of human life, kamendriyani samyamya aste manasasmaram, that this human life is not meant for sense gratification. What is it meant for? Sorry?
Self-realization. Self-realization.
Self-realization. Right? Yeah, good. Inquiry into the nature of the absolute truth. That should be the goal of all of our work. But it's not. So whichever way it is, it seems a bit harsh, a bit extreme. It's a different age, a different situation. You didn't just do it once. To teach a very severe lesson. Well, on the other side, never steal from a Brahmana. This is a Vedic principle. It's considered a very serious, a grievous offense. An offense. We may escape from it in whatever. A society that has no such principles, but one doesn't escape from the laws of karma. Why? Because they're there for the purpose of helping us to give up this bodily concept of life. Unfortunately, most religious principles today have been compromised, watered down for materialistic, sensual reasons, but they have a higher purpose in reality. We may not have much sympathy for religion, whatever, but the principle in reality behind them is to help elevate the person, us, to the spiritual platform. Unfortunately, they tend to miss the point in many cases and keep us on the bodily platform of life, identifying ourselves with a particular cult or country or whatever, something or another, causing still further implications in karma with no process in practice, practically speaking, nothing to help release the living entity from material attachment. In many cases, systematically, practically, a program to try to fulfill material attachments or desires. In many cases. And it's very hard in Kali Yuga. So the chopper in Kali Yuga is not Lord Parashram, don't worry. It's not Lord Parashram and his axe. Maybe at the end of Kali Yuga we'll see Kalki coming in a similar way. Huh? Because the leaders are misleaders, they're not leaders. With all due respect, our modern leaders of society may have some mundane intentions, which may have some desire to benefit the population, but they're in ignorance. Ignorance of the real meaning of benefit or goal of life. So consequently their efforts do nothing other than implicate people further in the cycle of birth and death, which is hardly the business. In fact, there's Guru Nushat Svajano Nushat. What does that mean?
You should not become a guru, you should not become a teacher, you should not become
A leader, a society, a parent, and so what to speak of a demigod, or leader in society, unless one is able to deliver them from, not from the womb. Deliver them from the womb? No. Yes, deliver one's dependence from birth and death. It's quite it's quite high, isn't it? Doesn't really come into they have a scientific maybe endeavor to try to, I don't know if they're really trying, but they say they are, to make life eternal, right? Never die. They still say like that? Still around? I'm not in tune, but I know in the 50s and 60s that was the, the fashion, scientific fashion. And so far, no, they haven't succeeded. And they won't succeed either. But they may keep on trying because they don't realize who that is eternal. It's a soul. I don't know if you want to stay in this body eternally anyway. Maybe some people do. Suffering. This thing and that thing, anxiety, stress, depression, and so on, fear. But they don't understand the higher purpose, and that's the Kshatriya's main business, is to facilitate that opportunity to these dependents, that they can advance in spiritual life. Instead, they try to subdue it. They don't want you to, practically speaking. Because you'll get outside of the let's say, the circle of consumerism or exploitation or whatever it is, control of society, etc. You won't be any longer a slave of the system. This is Kali Yuga, which is the age we're in particularly. But at this point of time, that wasn't to be expected of the leaders. Therefore, severe reaction, you could say, to teach a strong lesson. That's his business. So in this age, the chopper is not the axe of Parashuram. Parashu, the chopper. What is it? Yes, there was a time, you know that story? When Narada Muni, the great Narada Muni, the universal transcendental spaceman, was traveling. When he saw that this age was a beginning, he was in great anxiety, actually. Not for himself, but for the citizens of this age, the humans for this age, to be such a materialistic age that we're in. So he was very concerned what to do. So he went to see Krishna. At that time, Krishna was residing in Dwarka. You have to ask afterwards if you don't know what that is. Dwarka. And when he arrived, he has his consorts. The Supreme Person has unlimited associates, devotees, and members, family members, and so on. And when he arrived, Krishna could see that he looked somewhat distressed. What is the problem? And they expressed his concern for the suffering or the future suffering of this age, the darkness of this age, living a short life. What are the symptoms? There's a whole chapter in the 12th canto, the symptoms of Kali Yuga, summarized right at the beginning. Manda samanda matayo manda bhagu padrutaha. What does that mean?
Lazy, disturbed,
Unfortunate.
unlucky,
Unlucky, misguided.
always disturbed.
This is a generalization of the symptoms of Kali Yuga in this age of Kali. Men are always, short-lived. We think we're long-lived, but we're very short-lived, actually. Don't get into a big analysis of that. We may be living 70, 80 years, perhaps. I don't know what the average is, 70, 80 or something. But when you consider about 40% of people don't even reach 1 year old, they're murdered in the womb, it changes the dynamics considerably. I probably even said, he remembers a time when, grandfathers, they were living old ages, very old. It wasn't, people die young from diseases or whatever it may be, but now they're not even getting that far. But old people, very strong. I remember one guy in Malaysia, he was 92 years old. He was still climbing up coconut trees, picking coconuts. 92 years old. We had one boy, 94 years old. He used to jump around in the kirtan like an intoxicated frog. On both legs, not one, but both, like bouncing like this. 94 years old, the guy. He was in the Second World War. He was captured by the Japanese. He helped they were trying to build this bridge over the river. What was it called? Kwai. He was one of the guys that they were, one of the slaves that they took there to do that. 94 years old, fit as a fiddle. Dropped dead on the spot one day. To his death, he was still bouncing practically. He had more energy. You may be 30 years old and you're wiped out now. Right? Isn't it? You see a lot of young people now, 30, 40 years old. They've got about as much energy as a log of wood. Hard to get the fire out of them. People used to have a bit of oomph in them, Even in the last 50 years. Haven't you seen a change, Gopal? A day meant you woke up, you started work, and you worked till the time you took rest. Simple as that. Wasn't like, oh, hey, you get your break here and there, but you just go for it, non-stop. People have less stamina. Another way of looking at it, what's the use of a long life? You've got no life in you, or very little. Dull brains. Modern technology is very, very expert at making your brain dull. And the lifestyle we lead is very good at making us weak. Our food, our this, our that, our lifestyle, watching this and that, sitting down all the time, etc., etc. So, what's the use of such? Even if you do live longer, what's the use of it all? And with no spiritual understanding. Just accumulating karma. So bring that to an end. So the whole purpose when the Lord comes is to bring this karma to an end and help people to try to raise up. So anyway, Narada Muni went on, after he met the Lord said, don't worry, Narada. I have a plan for this age. You'll see, I'm going to appear in this age in a very special form. And he sent him all over the place to give the good news, so to speak. So Narada also visited Krishna in the spiritual plane. And there he came to the abode of the Lord there. He saw Radha and Krishna. Krishna was his consort Radharani. And suddenly Radha and Krishna transformed into the beautiful golden form of Gauranga. And Narada Muni was overwhelmed in ecstasy. And what did Lord Gauranga say? Hare Krishna. No, what did he say?
My dear Narada.
Pardon?
My dear Narada, now please go to announce to Brahmaji, Shiva, and your...
No, that was the previous pastime. He's now reached the highest planet.
Yeah, and then Lord Chaitanya said, you come with me as well.
And you?
You come with me to take part of my lila.
Okay.
Yeah, Dwarkadish said to Narada Muni actually. Yeah.
And then he said, in this age of Kali, I will appear in this form, this beautiful form, and with the chopper of Nam Sankirtan. Use the word chopper, same word. The chopper of Nam Sankirtan. What is Nam Sankirtan for those who don't know?
Congregational chanting.
The congregational chanting of my holy names, or his holy names in this case. He said, my holy name. This Nam Sankirtan. I will deliver everyone from their sinful reactions. Now, delivering from sinful reactions isn't just the idea we have, which is a material one. Huh? I want to carry on with my material activity. I just don't want to suffer the reaction, right? Isn't that generally the case? Yes or no? You come from a Catholic background, do you? I don't know about in Brazil, but I know in Ireland that's the case. They don't pray to God, please help to free me from my addiction to Guinness Stout. They just pray for forgive me for the reaction for hitting me on the head with a bottle. Or whatever it is, extreme. But yes, generally it's not, please free me from my, sinful behavior. Rather, free me from the reactions of my sin, but not the pattern or the behavior. Huh? Where Lord Chaitanya said, I'll free them from the very tendencies, not just the reactions, the tendencies to do these things, and awaken devotion within their hearts. And for those who escape and go to foreign lands, just like this incident here, the kings, they ran for their lives when Parashuram went on the hunt, right? Like you say in the forest, the wild boar, the deer, they run for their lives. They ran for their lives, and they came to countries like France and Germany, right? And Sweden, and places like that, and Greece, and tried to settle down away from the, scene. So he said, for those who flee to foreign lands, what will he do? No. He said, I will send more Senapati Bhakta. Who's more Senapati Bhakta? Yeah, my chief field commander. I will send him to these foreign lands and he will deliver them. So now Srila Prabhupada, others may also, but for sure Srila Prabhupada did this with a chopper of Nam Sankirtan. which includes Brihat Madanga. What's Brihat Madanga?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, it can be described specifically the written word. Huh? Well, I could go on in that one. But with this, you could say our weapons. Huh? Armed, Bhagavad Gita, armed with yoga, stand and fight. It doesn't mean we're going to go out there with knives and guns. It's not our business. Our business is to give another kind of shastra. There's shastra and shastra. The shastra is the physical weapon. Shastra is the spiritual teachings, which cut. They don't cut the head. They cut out these materialistic ignorance, which everyone is suffering from. So to distribute this knowledge to everyone, no matter who they are, there's no distinction, because knowledge is knowledge. Knowledge of ourself is not a dogmatic, cultish idea. It is the actual reality. Material, let's say, philosophy, material perspectives, this is illusion. This is the actual, you could say, cultish mentality. Thinking I'm this body, I'm a Christian, I'm American, I'm English, I'm French. This is falsity. You're not. So knowledge which gives us a higher understanding, which would genuinely bring unity and peace and loving exchanges and satisfaction within the heart. So the distribution of this knowledge is the topmost importance. Distributing of food and helping to try to bring wars to an end, and then another one starts. Why? Because people are still in ignorance. That is the disease of society. And they're experiencing their karma. Unavoidable laws of nature. One can rise above that with spiritual knowledge. Practically applying it, of course. So that is the mission which Srila Prabhupada has brought to the world. Same mission, the Lord in every stage, you could say. But particularly in Kali Yuga, to spread the Yagya Sankirtanam Prayer. The Yagya, the sacrifice for this age, is Sankirtanam, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. To counteract iti shodashakam namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam, the ill effects of this age, counteracted by Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So tomorrow we're setting off on our horse, armed with weapons. Our horse is a little Dacia car, but we're filling it up with weapons, boxes and boxes. 28 boxes of books are in there, amongst other things. And we're heading off into the battlefield of Paris. It's a real battlefield. Okay? You're sitting here, and of course today you're going to be in anxiety or stress. There's going to be no water, right, between. Is that right? 9:30. This is why we're going to Paris, because there's water in Paris. And now tomorrow, so oh dear, what are we going to do without water? Does everyone know that the water is getting cut off today?
Yes.
They all know. Okay, what are you going to do? Bathe in the earth or what? Go out inside and swim in a lake when you need a bath down there? What's the plan? You got a plan in place?
Yeah, we stored like 10 buckets of water.
That's not so much, is it? 50 devotees are going to take bath in 10 buckets of water.
Usually we take bath in the morning, right? So I think everyone...
Oh, we go to the toilet in the middle of the day, every day.
I can go into the forest today.
Thanks. Well, what do you do with the water side of it?
No, I mean...
There's a lake up the road there.
No, we are hoping that the water will come back by evening.
There's nothing we can do. It's just one of those things. So try to make an adjustment, tolerate. We hope it'll... I didn't like that statement. We're hoping that it will come back by this evening. That doesn't sound very optimistic, does it? Jeez. Does that mean there's no heating also?
We'll all go to Gaurangi Mataji's house.
Oh God. Conditional. That's a conditional statement, that one. What about the heating?
We will go to Mataji's house. We will say how the pictures, paintings can be arranged. We will help her a little bit.
Okay, anyway, whatever it is, but let's be realistic. What happens to the heating? Does it go?
Heating still goes on.
It's not affected by the water.
Because the water is not connected to the...
Not connected, okay. So the heating, hopefully, will still be there. Hopefully. You never know in this castle what's connected to what. Nobody knows what's connected to what. Yeah. After 50 years, we're still trying to find out. The main thing is that we should try to understand we're connected to Krishna, and that's what it's all about. So even if there is a bit of austerity, try to see Krishna in the center of it, okay? Don't start blaming anyone or getting angry or, I'm out of here or whatever it is, pack my bags, drive off. How to see things in relationship with Krishna. And that's what the Sanktam movement's really for. We're not here to make a comfy home. We need that. We're not so advanced, no doubt, but ultimately it's to help us to become Krishna conscious. So this marathon, we call it a marathon. Mara means death, doesn't it? Marathon. I always wonder if there's some derivative behind that. I was hoping there was, like deathlessness, but I couldn't find it. I looked in the Greek and in Roman, Latin, and I couldn't find anything. But
It's the name of the town. It's the name of the town.
Yeah, I know. But Mara means death, so I was hoping, when you say marathon, it's like, the history is there, where it all happened and stuff, but in terms of the word itself, that, if it has like deathlessness, that activity which being, because marathon means a long haul, right? It's a long haul. You've got to keep going and going and going. Well, that's what we called it last year. We called our marathon the Ramathon last year. That was the name. We haven't got a name this year. Last year we called it the Ramathon. So anyway, whatever it is, we have this golden opportunity to participate in this great activity, following in the footsteps of Lord Parashuram. We take our chopper in the form of spiritual knowledge, not in the form of, Bruno, don't take this literally, okay? We know you've got some axes down there. Don't take it literally.
Can we hit the people with the book?
With the book. Well, some devotees do. The Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said we do. He compares this knowledge to like an axe chopper. It's strong words, you could say. To cut out cut the knot of material bondage. To cut out these material illusions. Chop, chop, chop. Strong words. People don't like it. We don't like it too either sometimes. But that is an act of mercy. He says, just like the surgeon, sometimes with a knife he has to cut out. Not because he wants to hurt you, because he wants to save you. Well, sometimes strong words are required. If people aren't listening, and there's no society arrangement, so sometimes you have to, of course we're not so advanced and we have to use our common sense, but the principles there, knowledge must be given. So every day, but especially this next month or so, we're going to try to distribute. How many Bhagavad Gitas last year did we distribute?
Oh,
How many did you do last
I
year?
don't remember.
You don't remember how many you did last year?
Yes, I remember.
How many?
0.
Oh, okay. So you can improve this year. You can definitely improve. Got a good memory, I must say. You have a very good memory. I'm sure we can all distribute some transcendental literature of some kind this year in the marathon, play our little parts. Some of the devotees, one devotee, Gaurnataraj has pledged 1,000 Gitas this year. Others won 750. One devotee has pledged 2,000 Arabic books.
2000 what?
Arabic books. Yeah. But he may not be able to do it. His father had to leave and his mother's very sick. So he may not be able to do it. But anyway, that's what he wanted to do. Let's see what Krishna arranges. So we're heading off to try to do it. Last year we distributed 6,100 Bhagavad Gitas between everyone. We don't know this year. We have Bhagavatams now, so maybe some more Bhagavatams will go out, more Arabic books, more Bhagavatams, I don't know, whatever it is. But we hope to try to distribute as many books as we can, wherever we are. Different devotees are going in different directions. Aristanatha is going down to near Marseille. He's living in a cabin with no electricity and no running water, taking bath outside. And he'll be going out every day on book distribution there alone. And other devotees who are going to be in Nancy and Lyon and mostly in Paris. So if you do, and from here, I'm sure some devotees will also be taking to the battlefield with their bags of books and in Aquié and Lucé-le-Mal and other metropolises in the area. Yeah. Maybe even as far afield as Loche and Levroux and Valençay. And Tours. Yes, Panchatattva Prabhu is going to Tours. And some devotees will be coming to Châteauroux. All these, many, many opportunities are there. Let's see what together we can do as a whole. If we can please the Lord and give some mercy and compassion must be there for the living entities, the humans who are suffering in this world due to ignorance. So please take part as much as you can. It pleases Prabhupada like anything. I remember the first marathon started, I think it was 72 or 73, in LA. Almost by chance, they started this first marathon. And they couldn't stop once they started. That's a marathon. You can't stop once you start. When you get in the spirit, you just cannot stop. You just want more and more. Prabhupada said it's just like samadhi. Like samadhi, complete absorption. His own words. In last days of the marathons when we used to, together, the whole temple would be focused wholly and solely on the marathons in the 70s. And we could not eat and sleep the last few days, literally. Literally. If you could take a few dates and take a doze off, like 4 o'clock in the morning, we'd stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning the last few days on the marathon. Come straight to Mangal Arati, chant a rounds, or chant before if you knocked off early. Take a little nap, take a couple of dates or something, you were back on the street again. Couldn't stop. It was like an energy from a different plane. You can't imitate it. It was something very special. Prabhupada said it's just like samadhi. Because we weren't on that level of consciousness, but we were experiencing that spirit of those who are. Okay, we better get cracking. The water's going off soon. Better get that prasadam down you. Wash your hands quickly. Don't forget. You better go, huh?
Yeah.
Better go quick. Take prasad quick. Wash your hands quick. Wash your plates quick. Take your bath. Go to the toilet quick. Take your shower quick. Okay? Cook lunch quick. They got water in the kitchen, I hope.
Yeah. I'm just making sure all the pujaris doing during the day service, I'm asking them if they have water.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Fill up your buckets and your pans. I filled the bucket and all the pans and bottles up down there already.
What's the matter with your
Cutting. There is one wall they worked on. It's very old. They're changing it because I think they feel like it's blocked. Maharaj room and our room, we don't get water at all sometimes. So
Yeah, the water's not coming to the castle properly. So they're going to change a valve in the pipe, the main pipe, bringing the water in. So they have to turn the water off in order to do that.